Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and I hope you're about to have a Merry Christmas or a Happy Hanukkah, which is already going on, a joyous Kwanzaa. That's what I hope that you have. CNN apparently only cares about Christmas in this new recently published article stating that don't send grandma to the ICU this Christmas. That's not very inclusive of you, CNN. Are you saying that Jewish people should be fine with sending their grandmothers to the ICU while they're celebrating Hanukkah? Or are you saying a black family should be just cool with sending grandma to the ICU during Kwanzaa? That's culturally insensitive, and I'm going to need you to change this headline. Now, obviously, what we have here, I haven't even read through this article, but I can already tell you, what we have here is going to be another case of news fear-mongering and trying to make you feel guilty and accept a narrative and put you in your place because they want total control. Now we see here that this is an opinion by Allison Hope, so of course I'm going to respond to this opinion with my own opinion as we go through what I can only assume will be another bogus, biased article just made to keep us sheep in our place. Put your snotty noses behind a mask if you have to go out. Better yet, stay home if you can. Writer Allison Hope, plausible deniability doesn't have to be our legacy because it will be our demise. Header's note, get inspired by a weekly roundup on living well made simple. Sign up for CNN's Life But Better newsletter. I can already tell you, I'm not going to do that. It started with one person releasing a long, productive, unmasked cough into the stale, recycled air on the rush hour train. The bodily fluids hung in the air like a certified holiday wrecking ball. In a matter of days, that single exhalation had transformed into a chorus of viral aerosols, reverberating, unbridled coughs and sneezes and gargled throat clearings, worked in a sort of crude, sick harmony backed by a nose-blowing percussion. I envisioned infecting all the bystanders, myself included. Who do you think you are, Stephanie King? Jeez, Allison, could you sound any more pretentious? It's CNN. It's supposed to be the news. You're not going to get a Pulitzer for this. Also, I envisioned infecting all bystanders, myself included. How do you infect yourself? Like, I get that maybe if you're like holding a syringe of a virus and like you put it in your veins, like yeah, you could infect yourself that way. But if you've already got it, that's just you tried too hard. You tried too hard and you fell flat, Allie. There's not a place I've been in the past few days, public transportation, the supermarket, school, the office, where someone hasn't been hacking glassy-eyed, congested, or hoarse. Well, as long as they haven't been pony. Ha. Move over, Rudolph. There's a new red-nosed apparition that's coming to town this holiday season. Everyone and their mother are sick right now. Yeah, it's flu season, it's cold season, it's cough season. It's December. I'm sorry that your boy Jesus was born in the time of year where people are frequently sick. I'm sorry. He was born in the fall. Christmas is a co-opted pagan holiday. Let's make sure we get our history straight. It's not just little old colds either. Or is it? How do you know? For me, it's allergies. I have year-round allergies. Do you know how many times I spend, cutting and cropping out parts of this video where I'm sniffling and coughing just because of year-round allergies? Hospitals are overwhelmed. A trifecta of contagions, flu, respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, and COVID, have joined malevolent forces and are wreaking havoc on the populace. And by God, they've created the legendary weapon that Ganondorf has tried to get from Hyrule the whole time. The Tri-Flu of power. Babies and small kids, in particular, have ensnared the RSV wave. What is scarier than worrying your child might not be able to breathe? That my child would read an article like this? How about that the hospital that could save their life is too overwhelmed to help? Not to mention that COVID-19 is again on the rise, sending tens of thousands of people to the hospital and thousands to their graves each week. I'm gonna need some stats, Allie, my girl, because, I'm not buying that. Is COVID over? No. But at the same time, I've had it twice since this whole pandemic started 3 or so years ago, and I'm A-okay. So is everyone I've ever met, one of which is my grandmother with one lung who's on oxygen, and the other being my best friend who, while being in her 30s, effectively has the immune system of an 87-year-old woman. She's had it about 4 times. I'm not saying folks haven't died. And I'm not saying in the early stages when we didn't have a lot of information that it shouldn't have been taken seriously, but this is excessive. You gotta acknowledge that this is excessive. Multiple respiratory viruses are high in circulation right now. On top of that, there's an immunity gap after 2 winters of few people, including children, having many of these viruses, said Dr. Lena Wen, CNN medical analyst, emergency physician, and professor of health policy and management at the George Washington University Milken Institute School of Public Health. Oh my god, that was a mouthful. What a title. And yeah, sorry Lena, you're a CNN medical analyst. I wouldn't trust you any more than I'd trust a Fox medical analyst that said that COVID was made up of fairy dust and Democrat lies. Both sides are wrong. To add insult to injury, rather than facing the disease deluge that sounds like a magic card. Just harkening back to my last video, if they were charging $250 for booster packs of 6 cards, but there's a card in there called Disease Deluge, I might even pay that. No, I wouldn't. Wizards can die. Anyway, facing the disease deluge, armed with all we've learned over the past 3 years, proper hand washing, masking, social distancing, it seems like many people have crossed enemy lines. It's as if we've learned nothing from the global pandemic that has claimed more than 6 million lives, like we don't understand the death toll continues to climb. I don't know if it's claimed more than 6 million lives or not, but that's inviting some very interesting Holocaust comparisons that I want to make but don't know if they'd be in bad taste. Vaccine fatigue is contributing to the exponential uptick in illness plaguing our schools and workplaces, towns and cities. We can't seem to be able to do what we're supposed to, even though we know better. Yes, Allie, tell us, what are we supposed to do? Just fall in line and do everything that everyone says without question? Give up all individuality and sense of critical thinking because you are scared of the sniffles? I really don't want to downplay the probability of sickness and people getting hurt, but by the same token, when it's written in such a pretentious, I know everything, do what I say because I'm your god, emperor, opinion writer fashion, it's hard to take it seriously. In fact, individuals like you, who are on such a high horse that horse may as well be the Trojan horse with all of your army of lies spilling out, no wonder people don't want to do what you say. You sound like a douche. After being physically and mentally exhausted by circumstances, people begin to tune out to protect themselves and function during a high-stress situation, such as the current flu, RSV, COVID surge, said therapist Dr. Miriam Davis, clinical director of Newport Healthcare, Virginia, via email. Tuning out is similar to denial, a common psychological defense mechanism where one refuses to acknowledge objective facts in an unconscious effort to protect oneself from anxiety or discomfort. Kind of like the person in this article is doing, refusing to acknowledge the objective facts that most of the time, in a 98% chance, you're gonna be fine. No, instead, you're deciding to refuse or acknowledge objective facts and put yourself in a state of anxiety and discomfort, and you're so upset that you're alone in this anxiety and discomfort that you write an opinion piece for CNN to try and force others to feel that same anxiety and discomfort as you, because misery loves company, doesn't it? So few people are masked, even in the epicenters like New York City, which had to install portable refrigerators in hospital parking lots to stack the overflow of bodies of loved ones, neighbors, and friends taken by the first waves of the pandemic back in 2020. Oh my goodness, they are Indiana Jonesing the bodies. The blatant disregard for taking simple steps to stay well and stop the spread of viruses that are potentially deadly at worst and definitely disruptive at best feels like we're daring the universe to test us. I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to take on Mother Nature. I want to open my stocking stuffers and my jammies without a debilitating illness in tow. I'm just surprised that you're acknowledging a Christian holiday, even if it was stolen by our pagan friends. That's progress, Allie. And as for tempting Mother Nature, you realize that's not how it works, right? You said it right there. Definitely disruptive at best. Yeah, disruptive things happen in the world. That's part of life. It's not magic and sunshine and rainbows. It's disruptive when a car cuts me off. But I don't let it shape my worldview and start fearing to drive because other drivers could cut me off. I move on with my day and hope I'm not late to work. Why on earth would you want to give Grandma a trip to the ICU this Christmas? Because it'll get her out of my house and keep her from farting when I'm trying to eat Christmas turkey. A dragonfly brooch, tea service, or the Agatha Christie box set are all vastly preferable options if you ask me. You would be the type of person that needs a dragonfly brooch while you read Agatha Christie. You sound that white bread. Speaking of Grandma, what about Grandpa? You cool with him just effing off to the hospital? Tired of his war stories? Back in my day, we didn't have COVID-19. We fought in Vietnam, and we got Agent Orange, and we liked it. Like, okay, yeah, sorry, Grandpa. Go to Mercy. You'll be fine. Speaking of Grandma, nursing homes have failed to keep pace with life-saving preventative care. Oh, yeah, and? That's kind of always been the case. COVID didn't start that. My grandmother worked at a nursing home her entire life. There's a reason she's not in one, even though she probably does need to be on some sort of assisted care. Those places were the devil incarnate before COVID. In fact, if COVID is killing the people in the old folks' home, that's probably a mercy killing compared to what the orderlies are doing to them. Just 50% of nursing home residents have received their covalent boosters, and only an atrocious 25% of nursing home workers. Oh no, people exercising their freedom of choice. What's wrong with us? Nothing. What's wrong with you? Put your snotty noses behind a mask if you have to go out. Better yet, stay home if you can. Last time I checked, pretending sickness isn't in the air or your body doesn't make it go away. If I pretend you don't exist, will you go away? Plausible deniability doesn't have to be our legacy, because it will be our demise. And what a glorious demise it will be, as we all fall into the fires of plausible deniability, Satan laughing on Christmas Day! There are simple things that can reduce the spread of viruses, said Wynne. Many of these infections are spread via droplets, so coughing or sneezing into your sleeve or tissue would help reduce the spray of droplets. Oh yeah, just like any other virus or illness or cold or flu or bacteria or whatever. Just use some basic manners? I mean, that's what you're saying? Yo, when you go out, use manners. I get telling individuals who live in New York to use manners, but let's start with saying thank you, or holding the door open for people, or not shooting people in the street in high crime-ridden neighborhoods. Those are all much more impactful measures of manners I think we should focus on. Don't get me wrong. Cough in your hand, that is pretty important. But stop shooting each other in the street, New Yorkers. You're making Detroit look nice. Wash your hands frequently, including after touching high-touch surfaces like shared computer keyboards or elevator buttons, she said. Stay home if you have a fever or coughing a lot. And people at high risk for severe outcomes from viral illnesses should wear an N95 or equivalent mask while indoor spaces. Or, and it's just a suggestion, just do what you want and live with the consequences. It's fine. Move on with life. Don't let this fear-mongering get to you. How to break through the psychological trauma of surviving a pandemic while remaining socially responsible and not throw caution, and your N95 mask, into the wind. It helps to practice moderation, according to Dr. Marilla Loftus, medical director at Newport Healthcare. I don't know if I'm going to take a medical director that works in a place named after cigarettes, cancer sticks, very seriously. As for how to break through the psychological trauma of surviving a pandemic, why don't you go to Toys R Us, buy yourself a Ouija board, and commune with some folks that lived through the bubonic plague. See how they did it. We can exercise our individual rights when it comes to decisions about our own health, while being mindful that we often do things to protect others. Drive the speed limit to avoid an accident. Yeah, everyone drives 5 over, but okay. Shovel the snow on the sidewalk so our neighbors don't fall. Yeah, who does that? It's reasonable for people to take small steps in care of others, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Well, unless you're not masking. Oh, I hope you hold your breath until you turn blue. That way I can tell people it's okay. She's cosplaying as an Avatar character. Which you probably didn't even go see in theaters because, you're afraid of getting sick and going into public places. You're part of the reason that it didn't make the $2 billion it needed to succeed. How do you feel that you let Papa Disney down? For now, I'm thinking of swapping my usual Christmas presents for airtight hazmat suits and gas masks. We have crossed the line, everybody. All on board the train to Crazy Town. Hazmat suit at Christmas. I want you to listen to the song Christmas at Ground Zero by Weird Al Yankovic. Think about how silly and absurd it is, and then realize you make it sound like a regular top 40 hit by Rihanna. So the nearest and dearest can get through this winter without catching or spreading something that could take us out. Allison Hope is a writer whose work has been featured in The New Yorker, The New York Times, The Washington Post, CNN, Slate, and elsewhere. Well, I hope to God all of your articles are as intrinsically entertaining as this one, so that I could have content for days. I think I would like to end this video with a message to you, Allison, the writer, should you ever see this. Did that sound like nonsense? Good, because what I just said is about how your article sounded. Complete and utter nonsense with a smidge of fear-mongering. It is a recipe for suicide by cops so I can give the boys in blue something to do and never have to read another one of your trash articles again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially you, Allison. I would love your subscription because I am really trying to grow this channel, and it would mean a lot to me. For the rest of you, it would mean a lot as well. And remember, this has been Words of Paradise.